James Gunn gave us something Superman fans have been waiting for, and most people don't even know how to access it. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to get the Superman director's commentary. Plus, we've got bloopers, behind-the-scenes Peacemaker secrets, and some news that's going to blow your mind. Welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our September 29th, 2025 show, we're going to be covering those topics and so much more. And joining me, as always, are my two good friends and co-hosts, Michael Bailey. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Steve.
And Mark Lax. Hello, Mark.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are we both tonight? Doing well, I hope?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
All right. Well, let's get into tonight's topics. But before we do any of that, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. We want to thank everyone who is watching live with us tonight. And we want to thank our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick Schutzau. They are our Superman champions. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. They keep it free for everybody else. And if you'd like to join those fine folks and have your name read out at the beginning and end of every show, then you simply have to go to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you too can be a sponsor of the show. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks, so you can choose which one suits your needs. And if you want to get involved in tonight's show, we probably will have time in the second half hour of the program. Michael, how do they go about getting involved?
Well, it's pretty simple. They go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button. Or they can use the QR code that's next to me. Either way, that takes you to the green room where you can watch the show and wait for us to call you up. Now, if you're using a laptop or desktop to watch a show, and in doing so using an external speaker, please mute that before we have you on, because we're on a bit of a delay. I'm on even more of a delay than the delay that we already have because of how this whole thing works. Still better than Blog Talk Radio, and I'm going to stand by that. And if you're using your phone to call in and all that, please use your headphones or your AirPods or whatever, because speakerphone doesn't work.
Yes, indeed. Now, if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get on the show tonight as a caller, then feel free to participate in the comments. We're across broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram tonight, so we can see any comments or questions you might be asking on any of those platforms. So feel free to make a comment, ask a question. Michael, Mark, and I will be able to react to them as the show goes live and comment if necessary. So get involved in the show that way. All right, well, let's get into tonight's topics. And before we get into the commentary side of things, Superman, the new movie, is now available on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD. And it is doing really well in the sales. And I believe like the Steelbook sold out very quickly on Amazon. So there isn't a lot of any of those available that I could see. But I believe, obviously, the Blu-ray and DVDs are still available. But there have been some concerns about what content was included on those. It hasn't been released here in Australia yet. October 8th, I think it is, for the release of the Blu-ray and DVDs here in Australia. So I haven't picked up my copy yet. But have either of you guys just got... I mean, I know, Michael, you like to get the physical media. Have you picked up your copy yet?
Have not. Just not in a position to get that right now. Plus, I have packed up all of my Blu-rays and DVDs,
Right.
So I have no place to put them right now. Which is kind of... This is the first time I haven't run out on release day to buy it. But, I'm going to get it eventually. I mean, it's going to be around, and they'll probably, as, Mind the Gap was talking about, they'll probably release like a special edition collector's set like down the road that like actually comes with a dog or something like that. And then I'll just wait for that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, you are moving house, so you are in the middle of boxing things, and you don't want to be adding to the things that you have to take with you. So I can understand that. Mark, do you usually buy Blu-rays, or do you have a Blu-ray player?
No, I don't have a DVD Blu-ray player or anything. it's been a while, and someday maybe I'll get one, but I don't have it. So no, I mean, I have a lot of DVDs and stuff,
Right.
that I had when I had the DVD player, but I no longer have one. So
No. Well, I mean, in this day and age, it's not necessary anymore, is it? Because of streaming and digital and everything like that. A lot of
streaming.
people don't do physical media anymore. Some of us who are old school and like to have that physical copy, so we know that we own it and it's never going to be never going to disappear. Like to go that way, and some of us are collectors and like to have things on shelves displayed. So there is that angle of things as well. But one of the complaints that a lot of people have had is the fact that the physical media doesn't necessarily include some of the bonus material that is available digitally. And you can get the QR code that's included in the physical media to be able to access that digital bonus material. But it is, I guess, an issue for a lot of people, because if you go and are buying something, you want to have everything included in the thing that you bought. You don't want to have to go and get things extraneously from somewhere else. And so I have seen a lot of complaints along those lines, and I think it's because of the timing. As we know, this got released digitally, and became a home video release earlier than some videos might. And James Gunn's commentary hasn't been included in the physical media because he was recording that well after these things went into production. So I guess he's too busy. We needed to get on the ball a little bit earlier than that to be able to record it in time to make the physical media. But it is an issue, and a lot of people are having complaints, and I think rightfully so. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I get the reasoning behind it, and especially with what's been going on in Peacemaker, especially last week's episode. You definitely this stuff where people can access the movie so that if they haven't seen it yet, which it seems like everybody has seen it by this point. But at the same time, it's kind of like basically you're just saying, okay, we're just going to disappoint people because we have to move in this direction. And I I don't necessarily have a problem with them releasing new editions of a movie later. Uh, 20th Century Fox did that, and I think Sony did that with their Marvel films. There was
Mm.
X-Men, and then right before X2 came out, you had X-Men 1.5, and you had Spider-Man 2.1, and you had uh, Fantastic Four, 1.5 or whatever that was eventually caused, and it had additional supplementary stuff and made you buy, quote unquote, made you buy it again. So what I think is disappointing is that people there seems to be like this keeping it out of reach for certain people,
Mm.
and that seems a little contrary to the openness that the Superman movie was supposed to be. And there's almost like for lack of a better term, like a too cool for school. Like if you want to be one of the cool kids, you got to do this. And it's just like, no, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be decentralized. We're supposed to get all of this stuff. And again, I get the timing of it. I just think it's kind of disappointing that they're basically saying, yeah, it's not going to be there. Sorry about that, but buy it anyways, please.
Well, first, I believe they said if you bought the digital that you would get at least all the extras on it, I believe. And I bought it on Amazon Prime, and I didn't see any extras. I mean, I even looked to see if there's something I should press. I don't know. I didn't see anything. So then they said, okay, today's the day that the commentary comes out, and I believe they did say all digital platforms. Did they not
They did.
originally say that?
They did. James Gunn
And it
even
was not
himself
there
said
on
it.
Amazon Prime.
No.
So a lot of other people said, well, no, it's an exclusive to Apple. So I went on Apple, and it said, well, for $12.99 you can get all the extras. So I just paid the $12.99, and if I want to see the commentary and the extras, I'll watch it on Apple. And if I, just want to see the movie in general, I'll just watch it on Prime whatever, because I mean, again, like Mike was saying, in times past when it came out on DVD, you got all the extras and the commentary. Sometimes you got commentary from the director and commentary from the actor, and they're just not doing that with this. Plus there's a little bit of a trick that the commentary is going to be on all digital platforms, and it wasn't. So I don't quite understand the thinking entirely on it, because it's a little tricky. I mean, and I also think if you're going to buy it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, or have you, it should all be on there as it was in days past. And if they say it's going to be on, all digital platforms, well, then it should be on all digital platforms.
Agreed.
But
Now,
there you
I want to remind everybody.
Go, Mike.
I want to remind everybody that James Gunn also said The Flash was the greatest superhero film ever made. So we really got to take some of the statements that he makes with kind of a grain of salt at this point, because it's
I think with that one, he was kind of had his hands tied behind his back, because they were like, look, if you are going to come on board, you need to continue to push what we've currently got on slate, because these things are still coming out. And we need these things to do well, even though they're not your things. You've got to we need you to push them, because they're still in production and they're still going, and that we still need to make money off them. So you need to put your weight behind them. And whether or not he agreed with that or not, he was kind of, I think, put in a difficult position. But I guess you got to hold true to your own opinions rather than tote the company line sometimes. But this, I think, is one of those cases where it's the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing, as far as some of the production teams doing, putting together the material and putting together the physical media. And they did say it was going to be available on all digital platforms on a particular date. But as we found out, that's not true. As you said, Mark, it's not on Amazon Prime, and you bought it and everything like that. And it has been announced that it was, well, not announced, but it has been confirmed that it is only available on Apple, whether that's iTunes, Apple TV. You have to go through your Apple account to be able to access the director's commentary at the moment. As you said, Michael, there'll probably be down the track sometime. They'll maybe do a Christmas release. Maybe they'll do a collector's edition before Supergirl comes out. I'm sure they'll put a Superman 6-film collection or whatever, and they'll put them together with the Christopher Reeve films, and then you'll get the bonus material on a physical media there, because I'll have had time to put it all together and load it on. But at the moment, there is a way around not having it if you are a customer who's bought it on something other than the Apple platform. And the way you go about that is using Movies Anywhere, which is I'm pretty sure it's a free account that you can set up, which connects all your platforms, all the places that you might have bought digital media or physical media even. It's somewhere that you can actually log all that information in. And then because you have purchased Superman on any platform, you own that, and you are therefore able to access the other information that is only available on another platform. So I've been told. Again, I can't confirm any of this, because here in Australia we have a different system, and you guys have not gone through this process because it hasn't been necessary. Mark, you ended up actually paying the extra money with Apple to be able to get that bonus content material. But the solution is this, and I'm going to kind of go through it step by step for people in a not nitty-gritty way, but in an overarching kind of view of how you go about it. So you set up Movies Anywhere. So you create an account, if you haven't already got one, at moviesanywhere.com. Now, for Blu-ray owners, this is where you'll redeem the digital code included with your physical copy. Movies Anywhere serves as a central hub that you can sync your movie libraries across connected platforms. Now, you navigate to Settings, Manage Retails, and link the platform where you purchase Superman, whether it's Amazon, Vudu, or any other service. Connecting these accounts will merge your movie libraries. So now you choose your platform. You have multiple options for accessing the commentary. Fandango TV app, connect your Fandango account through Movies Anywhere. iTunes, you can connect your iTunes account to your Movies Anywhere profile. And Apple TV app, you can link your Apple ID through Movies Anywhere and use the mobile Apple TV app. So there's Fandango, iTunes, and Apple TV, or you can go to connect your account. Now, once your accounts are linked, Superman should appear in your chosen app's movie library. If the sync doesn't happen immediately, you can actually manually download the film through the platform store. Look for the download option, not buy, because you already own it. Step 5 is open the movie in your chosen app and look for the extras button in the player interface. Click this to access a menu containing the director's commentary track, and it should look like this at the bottom of the menu, where you can see it says there director's commentary. So that's you got to jump through a few hoops. It isn't ideal, and it's a bit frustrating for people who have purchased it, but there is a way around doing it. And Movies Anywhere is the central hub that is the platform to be able to enable you to access the director's commentary if it's not accessible to you on the platform that you purchased it on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I use Movies Anywhere when I buy a new when I actually purchase physical media. That's where I go. And the cool thing is that you've got a thing where you can just scan a QR code. You don't even have to type in a code. You just scan that and it pops up and it puts it in your library. And it does make it a little inconvenient sometimes, because I have like some movies that I bought on Amazon Prime. There are movies that I bought on Apple, and then there are the physical movies so I have to kind of do a little dance within my phone or whatever when I'm doing it. But it's really convenient. I really wish that I had done that sooner back in the day, because there were a bunch of movies that I bought that had digital redemptions that I never took advantage of. And by the time I got to doing all of this, it's like they expired 5 years ago. So it's just whatever. It's okay. I'll just buy it again.
Yeah. Now, if you don't have Apple TV, as in an Apple TV itself, that's okay. You just need, and again, if you don't have an Apple account because you don't use Apple phones, or you don't have an iPad, I think there's a large chunk of the population who has one or the other. So if you don't have an iPhone, or you don't have an iPad, and you don't have an Apple account, then fair enough, you're in a bit of a pickle. But me, everything I do is Apple. Because I'm a graphic designer, web designer. I've got Mac, I've got iPhone, I've got iPad, I've got an Apple Watch. So everything I do is Apple, and I'm a bit of an Apple junkie in that way. But I guess some people are not that way inclined and don't have any Apple devices. And if that's you, then yes, you're in a bit of a pickle, as I said, and you don't really have an option to get the director's commentary at the moment. But somewhere down the line, they may fix that, and it may be an Apple exclusive for the first month or something like that, and then they'll eventually be available on those other platforms without having to jump through these hoops. But at this point in time, that is what you need to do. Someone in the in the comments said it's only a matter of time before someone records the audio and uploads it either to YouTube or to one of those illegal platforms where you can download the film and have it with James Gunn's commentary. I'm surprised it hasn't already happened, considering how hard it is to be able to access the commentary with all these steps that you have to go through. So it is what it is.
I became an Apple user by accident. We were upgrading our phones back in 2012, and it was right around the time the iPhone 5 was coming out. And I was talking to the woman from the phone company, and she's like, well, you can get iPhone 3 for $1 and just pay shipping. And I'm just like, okay, we'll do that. And we've just upgraded from there, paying full price, obviously, for the ones that we've gotten since then. But, when they're like, this is... It was kind of like, the first one's free, kid, and then you got to pay for everything. But, I have an iPad as well, mainly because I hate the interface on Kindles and such for comic readers. I think that they're utter garbage, in all honesty.
I used to read it on, just say I used to read comics on my Kindle, and I had a decent size of it, and it's just not the same.
Nah.
It was, yes. So getting the iPad, that's, you're gonna read it digitally. That's the way to go.
100%. Very cool. All right, so we hope you've ironed out some of those issues there, and we're not going to get into debates about Apple versus whoever. Like that's a thing from bygone era as well. PC versus Apple was a massive thing growing up for me, and there were Apple. Those wars. It's like Coke and Pepsi stuff. So
Yeah.
let's leave that behind us, please. We can move on. All right. As we said, the movie is out physical, but it's also on HBO Max. So if you're a HBO Max customer, you can watch the film that way. And it has drawn a huge audience on HBO Max. It has received 13 million global viewers in its first 10 days on the platform, which is a new record that is, well, it's up there. It's the largest 10-day audience for a Pay One film since Barbie, which began streaming in December 2023. So that is huge numbers for HBO Max, and pretty impressive numbers for the movie itself.
It's also driven people to other Superman movies. Like
Yes.
Superman the movies viewers went up like 150%. Superman Returns went up 120%. Man of Steel went up 40%. Make of those numbers what you will. And I just think it's just really funny. I don't know if I mentioned this in the past weeks. I was watching a TikTok of somebody complaining that there wasn't enough Batman stuff on there, and I was just like, okay, this is a weird world that we live in. But
yes.
It's just I just there is that little kind of bitter like sense of feeling like superior about the whole thing. It's just like, yeah, now you guys got to feel how we felt for 20 years. Still, I think it's amazing that it's done as well as it has. Like, I was expecting it to do well. I did not expect it to set records.
Yeah.
So I think that's also why they're putting the sequel out 2 years from now, because they're just going to keep that momentum going.
100%.
And I am going to make a prediction. I could be proven wrong.
Ooh, here we go.
37. But if the world doesn't end and society continues onward, I think the sequel will make $1 billion. And this is why. There's something in the record industry, and I forget what the term is, that basically the follow-up album to an album that came out, was kind of successful, and then blew up and became successful, the next album, while usually agreed upon not as good, will sell better than the first album because everyone's excited based on for the second based on the first. Yeah. So what I think is going to happen is that there was excitement for Superman, but now that it's a legitimate phenomenon, the sequel is going to be anticipated more, and it's probably going to make more money at the box office.
Wow. Yeah. No, I can see that happening. That's a hot take, but I don't think it's that far out of the realms of possibility. And just going back to what you're saying about Batman fans saying there's not enough Batman content, it just my reaction just reminds me of that speech in the Goonies where he's saying it's our time down here. It's like, now Superman fan, this is our time. And you mentioned the surge of content that the viewership for other Superman content. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, saw an extraordinary 670% increase in viewership.
Wow.
So, that's huge. So yeah, it's amazing the flow-on effect that this movie has had for other Superman content that is now readily available and easily seen on HBO Max because of the launch of this new movie. So yeah, great numbers, and just demonstrates how this movie has been successful on every stage of its release, from film in theaters, and then its digital release, physical release, and then streaming release as well. So more power to James Gunn and the DCU moving forward. And as he said, the next film is Supergirl coming next year. And then we've got Man of Tomorrow the year after. So great news indeed. Now, some of the bonus material that we have mentioned that is available digitally, one of those was the gag reel. And did I play a little bit of that last week? I think I did, where we said, or maybe that was on my own speeding bulletin. Here's a little bit of the gag reel anyway.
You're acting insane. Calm down.
Oh, I'm the insane one! Oh, this is hell! Hold on to me. I gotta get back to the fray.
Oh.
Hashtag super shit.
You know that one specifically irritates me.
We got it.
Maybe one day you'll give me a name.
And then there's a whole thing about being named Gary at the very end there, which sends David Cornsworth into stitches of laughter. So that was it's awesome just to see. I love those gag reels, and I wish they would. I hope there's there is a longer version. Obviously, this was the preview of it that was put on social media, but I just love the energy that's obviously evident in the making of this film.
Was there a gag reel for Man of Steel? I'm trying to remember if that was on the DVD or not, or the Blu-ray or not.
Good question.
I mean,
know.
To be fair, Zack Snyder does not strike me as the gag reel type of director.
True.
Not that his people aren't having fun on set. I mean, he was skateboarding in the Kryptonian and the Krypton sets. So, but I just like a gag reel for this movie seemed like inevitable. Like you knew it was going to be coming out just because of the sense of humor of the director. So.
Yeah, indeed. All right. James Gunn has spoken about the connections between Peacemaker and the Superman film. Now, if you haven't seen episode 6 of season 2, a little bit of a spoiler alert. I should, here we go, put the little graphic up there for you so that you're aware that this is spoiler alert material. There is a cameo or a surprise appearance, not necessarily a cameo, but an appearance by, spoiler alert, Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult in episode 6 of season 2. And there's a little bit of a discussion about this in the latest podcast episode of the official Peacemaker podcast that James Gunn obviously hosts. And here is a little bit of them talking about that.
He was still shooting Superman,
we shot it in the middle of Superman while we were shooting the Pentagon sequences in Superman.
Yep.
And it was cool. It was weird because tonally, it instantly felt different from Superman, which is so big and brash. And then this show is like so, like strangely grounded and gritty.
Yeah.
And then also hearing Nick curse.
That's the bit that gets me is, you see Lex Luthor in one guy's, no swearing allowed.
Yeah.
You see Lex Luthor in another guy's, and it's a very different kind of language.
Yeah, it is. It's different.
So there you talk about the tonal shift in of seeing Lex Luthor in Peacemaker compared to seeing Lex Luthor in Superman. And so if you missed it, it is episode 6 of season 2, where Nicholas Hoult shows up as Lex Luthor in prison still.
I'm gonna be the fuddy-duddy and the old man for a minute. The clip of Luthor showed up on TikTok. Of course it did. And I'm suddenly like Ian Malcolm from just Jurassic Park. It's like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And I am not a prude when it comes to bad language. I'm not a prude when it comes to sex. I'm not a prude even when it comes to violence in movies and shows, because, every show and every, fictional construct is different. I just think it's really weird to frame the Superman film as an all ages family movie that you can bring anybody to, and then have him say what he said in that scene. And it's not like, oh my god, I'm not pearl clutching. It's more of just a question of what was the value of that. What did it bring to Lex as a character? What did it bring to the show? Like, is it basically like, if you exist in that universe, you have to talk like that? Because that just feels very weird. So it was just one of those things. It felt a lot like, DC in the New 52, where things would happen just because, it's like, well, we're edgy and mature. And I don't think Gunn is necessarily like that. It just didn't sit well with me. Even in the context of the Peacemaker show, which is very bawdy in its language.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I haven't seen the episode yet myself. I've stayed away from the clip because I am watching season 1 of Peacemaker at the moment to try to catch up, so that I'll be where I need to be as far as anything that has an impact on Man of Tomorrow before that film comes out. So, yeah, I'm obviously, having seen watching season 1 of Peacemaker, I know where you're going as far as I can imagine the language that's used by Lex in that scene, because they can. And yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't it's unnecessary in a lot of ways, but I guess it's in keeping of the show, but it's not within keeping of what we've seen of the character so far because of where we've seen him in previously. So it's kind of a little bit weird. I get where you're coming from.
I do wonder, though. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead.
You go.
No, I was just going to say. No. I'm sorry. I was just going to say I haven't seen the show or the clip. But I do think with things like this, yeah, it's in the Peacemaker universe, but just because that means, yeah, so he's got to stick to all that, all the kind of language and all the kind of, so what? So, I mean, why, what's the reason of why? I don't know if his, how important his cameo is in the show. If it's just to say, oh, look, here's Lex Luthor, and then have him talk like that, it's kind of a ridiculous reason. I mean, if there was a really good reason why he was in there, even so, I mean, it's like, oh, we're in the Peacemaker universe, so we can talk like this, but in the other, and then now we're in Superman, we can't talk like this. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mike, anything you wanted to finish off before we wrap that discussion up?
I was just going to say, I'm wondering if I was curious back when Man of Steel came out, if there were any hard conversations in the car ride home with kids who maybe didn't understand what the facts of life were and were witnessing a live birth right at the beginning of the film. I'm wondering if at some point during the last couple of days, a child who may have stumbled upon it walked up to their parents and asked what a twink was, and what that conversation was like. That is the only word that he said in that entire thing that I can say on this show, because you can't say the other things that he said without us getting like 15 strikes against us. So
yeah, Mind the Gap says Lex just curses a few times. I don't see the big deal. And Steve Brown says it is actually an important scene. So, and Celeste says that she has seen the episode and it is crazy. So, yeah, thanks for those comments. And Mind the Gap does say that the show is marked for mature audiences. So parents can obviously make sure that their children aren't watching it. But being a connected universe and knowing Lex Luthor's on there, they might want to, but they obviously, if they're of a certain age, shouldn't. So it's a tricky one because you do want to make material for your entire audience at different demographics, but obviously some shows or some movies are not for all ages, and that can be tricky when you're doing crossovers and the like. So it's a minefield, but I get where they're coming from. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back on the flip side. We've got a regular segments to do, monthly segment, weekly segment, as well as the announcement about my book. Be back with all those topics right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Insiders say Lex Luthor to cut nation's power. Superman overpowers Lex Luthor. Alienware powers the nation.
Alienware, embrace the power.
Old Alienware TV commercial there, or online commercial. Moving on, talking about promoting things. My new book, Beyond the Cape, is now available. It is available now to purchase as of today. It has not been announced anywhere yet other than here live on this show, so you are hearing it first. The book is now live on Amazon. Here is a quick promo promoting the release of the book so that you are aware that where you can buy it from. Have a look.
From chaos to hope. From uncertainty to a new vision, the complete chronicle of DC Studios' ambitious reboot. Every announcement, every casting choice, every milestone. Follow the entire journey of James Gunn's Superman, from the first announcement to the box office triumph. The definitive timeline of how a legend was reborn. From Steve Eunice, the owner of SupermanHomepage.com, comes the definitive chronicle of 2025's most anticipated superhero film, Beyond the Cape. Now available on Amazon. The story behind the legend.
So there you have it. That's the promo for the book Beyond the Cape. It is available now on Amazon, and in the next couple of days it will be available on Kindle as well. So it might even be up there at the moment on Kindle. It's just going through the processes of approval. So Beyond the Cape is available as a paperback for $21.99 US. So it's not too expensive, and as I said, it chronicles the complete journey from the announcement of the film being made right through to its release, and it's been a labor of love that we've put together, having documented everything about this movie over the last, 3 years. In 2022 they started announcing it. So yeah, it's out there now. Go grab it, Beyond the Cape. Just search for that and it will come up on Amazon. So I'm very, very excited.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
This is a very exciting thing. I'm glad you're doing this and have plans for others. So getting into this self-publishing thing, which seems like you would have done this years ago, but you just seem to be really poking around at it now. That it's though, to be fair, it's a little more popular to do now and a little easier. I don't know what the mechanics were of doing it, but it seems like there's a lot more tools for authors to do this now than there was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I did self-publish a book about my own personal story as a bereaved father back in 2010 on Amazon. And that was very difficult to write. And I tried to get it published in the traditional way, and then it wasn't long enough or big enough for traditional publishers to look at it. So I went the self-publishing route through Amazon. And I guess as far as Superman is concerned, I just haven't considered the idea because I didn't. Now that I've written this one, topics are just suddenly jumping at me because it's almost like the damn wall is broken and it's just the floodgates have opened and away you go. But it's kind of weird that some further ideas are popping. I'm actually really in the thick of doing the next one, which will probably be out for Christmas. And I don't want to announce. I've told you guys, but there is going to be a foreword written by an actor that you will know from the Superman universe. That I'll announce that one in the next month or so. But deep into working on that one at the moment. To answer some questions, who said, is the book going to be available digitally? It is available for Kindle. As I said, superman.worldwide. It will be available for the Kindle in the next couple of days, if not already. But the soft cover is available now, and the Kindle version will obviously be a lot cheaper than the paperback physical copy. But Amazon.com or .com.au if you're here in Australia, depending on where you are, you can purchase it right now. So go get to it. You didn't give up though, Steve. That's the important thing. Yes, thank you, Celeste. I didn't. I plowed through it, got through it, and now I'm working on the next one. So appreciate all the support. All right, let's jump into our regular topics. Let's start with the fan favorite question of the week. All right, the fan favorite question from last week was, who is your favorite live action Ma Kent of all time? So we're on the Martha Kent side of things. We had a few people respond. Michael, who was up first?
Wonder wrote in saying my favorite Martha Kent is the new Ma, Neva Howell. But I also really like them in My Adventures with Superman and Superman 78.
Thank you very much, Wonder.
And JP Rocher wrote, my favorite Ma Kent is Annette O'Toole. Hands down the best.
Thank you, JP. Short and sweet. Thank you for that one. Lorenzo was up next. And Lorenzo Hot Take Valdez. Not a surprise here. My favorite live action Ma Kent is Annette O'Toole. Much like with John Schneider's Jonathan, we got to see so much of Annette's Martha guiding Clark on his journey. I'm also partial to the idea of Martha being a city girl who moved to the country / Smallville when she fell in love with Jonathan. Of course, there's also the fact that Annette did a magnificent job playing my all-time favorite character, Lana Lang, as well. Obviously from Superman 3. Thank you very much, Lorenzo.
Kara wrote in and said, my favorite live-action Ma Kent is a two-way tie between Kay Callan and Annette O'Toole. Both women portrayed Mrs. Kent with a warmth that only a mother could give. They also showed that it would be unwise to cross her. When they needed to, they put Clark in his place, but also comfort him when he needed it most. And a close second would be Neva Howell. She was just wonderful.
Thank you so much, Kara.
And Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite live-action Martha Kent would be that played by Kate Callan on Lois and Clark. She had great chemistry with Eddie Jones, Jonathan Kent, as well as wonderful rapport with Dean Cain's Clark Kent. Once I was fortunate to meet Kay, she was a very kind and lovely person. Attaches a picture of that occasion should you deem it worthy to be shared. Also, congratulations on the interview you and Mark held with Neva Howell a while ago. It was very well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a great interview Mark and I were able to do. So thank you very much, Ryan. Great to see a photo of you there with Kay. Last was Celeste Sims, who wrote, my favourite live-action Ma Kent is played by Neva Howell from James Gunn's Superman. She brings a new, fresh take on Clark's adoptive mother. Her character is loving, caring, and supportive as well as Neva is in real life. Her portrayal is very heartfelt and inspiring. Thank you, Celeste, and thank you to everyone who sent in their replies to the fan favourite question for this week. We move on with a similar topic before we do move on to the next topic, start with you, Mark. Do you have a favourite Ma Kent?
I think Kay Callan, at the time she kind of embodied that, that post-crisis Ma Kent, and I mean, there are others. I mean, I thought Annette O'Toole was great, and her. I mean, they're all different versions. I mean, Phyllis Thaxter had the more classic old Ma Kent, and so there's so many that were really good, but Kay Callan really just came out to me as at that time just the perfect Ma Kent.
Michael.
I'm a big fan of Kay Callan. I think of all the Marthas, she just hits it right for me. I think Annette O'Toole would be a close second. And it's nothing against Neva Howe. I think she was fantastic and really kind of broke the mold of the Marthas that we've been getting. The thing is amazingly, we have never had a bad Martha.
True.
We've had maybe bad dialogue for Martha. But the performers themselves, whether it's Annette O'Toole or Diane Lane or Neva Howe or Kay Callan or Phyllis Thaxter or Salone Gems from the Superboy television series, they've all been really good in the role. So it's kind of interesting that this is one of those conversations where you're going to have people with strong opinions, but no one's wrong.
Yeah, it's very, very true. I would go with Kay Callan as well. I just love the fact that they had Martha alive in that series, and she was able to be a sounding board for Clark and a great role model for him, and that relationship was really cool. And Phyllis Thaxter's Martha in Superman the movie is also a personal favorite. But as you said, there hasn't been a bad one, and they've all brought something special to the role. Even Diane Lane, while we didn't necessarily get that warm, fuzzy feeling from Diane Lane, she was a bit more, critical of some of the decisions that he would have to make. She was still always there for him, even as a little boy, to protect him and make sure that she could guide him through the troubles and tribulations that he had to face growing up with those powers. So, thank you everyone for responding to the fan favorite question for this week. Moving forward, our new fan favorite question for this coming week is, other than Lex Luthor, who is your favorite live action villain of all time? Get involved with the fan favorite question of our show. All you have to do is send an email to the email address on your screen, info@supermanhomepage.com, info@supermanhomepage.com, and we'll respond. We'll read those out when we receive those responses for the fan favorite question next week. All right, let's jump into the super secret soundbite.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, the super secret soundbite from last month was this sound.
Superman has assumed the disguise of Clark Kent.
Not too difficult, but we only had 2 people send in responses, and they were JP Rocha and Luke Lazalde. So congratulations and well done to JP and Luke for guessing where in the world of Superman that came from. Obviously the Fleischer Superman cartoons, so congratulations to them. Let's see if more people can guess where in the world of Superman this new super secret soundbite comes from.
Lois Lane, we are so proud of you. And you brought fruit?
Volume's a little bit low on that one, but if you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound came from, head to the Superman homepage, supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Send in your entry, and we will read out the people who guess it right when we return to this segment at the end of October. So get involved in the super secret soundbite. All right, time for This Week in History by Michael Bailey.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Sometimes I tell you all to grab a cup of coffee and a snack. This time, I just wouldn't even bother sitting down. It's not a lot this week. Going back to 1955, we have Action Comics number 210. That is a very creepy balloon. We also had Adventure Comics number 218. Get ready to hear a lot about Adventure Comics. I am very uncomfortable with Jor-El shorts in this thing. I it's like, Dad, please, just for the love of God, put on some pants. And Superboy number 45. which the 50s was just a goofy time, y'all. I guess that's the only thing I could say. Jumping ahead to 1965, we have Action Comics number 330. Thankfully, no uncomfortable balloons or anything, though I do kind of like Supergirl on that cover. And we also have Adventure Comics number 338, which is Legion of Superheroes inspired, as was befitting the time. 1975, hope y'all are hungry for some hamburgers, because man is Action Comics number 454 has
Hasn't that been used over and over and
yeah.
over again?
Dude, you're gonna yeah, that is kind of a meme at this point, isn't it? In 1985, the entire multiverse died in Crisis on Infinite Earths number 10, which featured not only Superman, but Superboy from Earth Prime before he was evil, and the Earth 2 Superman as well. Also, we had that same week, we had DC Comics Presents number 89, where Superman teamed up with the Omega Men. In 1995, we have Action Comics Annual number 7. If you are a fan of Doctor Who, I would recommend this one, because the villain, very Davros and Dalek inspired, I would say. We also have the Trial of Superman continuing in Adventures of Superman number 529 with Team Superman, including everyone's favorite Alpha Centurion, flying off to help. And that's mean. I actually kind of like Alpha Centurion. And Steel number 21 also came out this same week. It was an Underworld Unleashed tie-in, and that is the 90s cover. In 2005, we are nearing the end of Greg Rucka's run on Adventures of Superman with number 644, where he talks to Zatanna. JLA Classified number 12 came out. I'm sure there is a 17-page review that I wrote back in 2005 for this issue. And Superman Batman number 22. I don't know if this is when I was still tag teaming the reviews on this one, but I just remember really enjoying Bat Zorro. In 2015, the depowered Superman made an appearance in the Grayson Annual. 2 very bad ideas, yet a really fun story. I remember enjoying that quite a bit. We also had Justice League number 44, which continues the Darkseid War, which is still better than anything that Zack Snyder had planned for Darkseid. And Superman number 44 also came out. It's very weird that in the same week you picked up one issue where Superman is at full power, and then you have the continuation of the Truth storyline in this. In the real world, only 3 things to talk about. September 28th, which was Sunday, is traditionally recognized as the birthday of Lex Luthor. Remember that he once stole 40 cakes, and that's terrible. On October 1st, Beck Bennett, who played Steve Lombard in the new Superman film, was born in 1984. And on October 4th, one of my favorite super performers, Melissa Benoist, was born in 1988, and that is this week in history.
Thank you very much, Michael. Very well done. So happy birthday to Beck Bennett and Melissa Benoist, who celebrate their birthdays this week. And just to clarify on the the fan favorite question, I meant Superman villain. Other than Lex Luthor, who is your favorite live action Superman villain? You don't have to. We don't want Darth Vader comments or anything like that. Superman villain. All right.
Superman 11.
Don't yuck their yum, Steve. Just let them do whatever they want.
I'm just opening myself up to a can of worms. You watch some of the responses we get. All right, let's push on. So that's the fan favorite question, the super secret soundbite, and this week in history, all done and out of the way. There is a new documentary coming out. It will have its premiere, I believe, at Baltimore Comic-Con on October 17th and 19th. It's called Shopping for Superman. It's all about your local comic book store. Here's a little bit of a trailer for it. Check this out. Where is it? I'll grab it for you in a second. As I said, it's called Shopping for Superman, and here is the trailer.
Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane!
I couldn't believe that there was a shop just for this stuff.
It felt like there was no end to the potential growth.
I have enough comics to sell 1,000 comics a day for about 27 years.
We got to come up with the biggest thing we possibly can.
DC Comics has decided to kill off Superman.
And I'm like, you dirty. The future of comic shops has never been more in doubt.
We are on the brink of collapse, very much.
It's something that you just can't do unless you really love it, unless you're devoted to it.
There's something about comics. There's something magical about all this.
So there you have it. Shopping for Superman is the name of the documentary. So, more details at our website, but Baltimore Comic-Con is a place where it will be screening in October. So, if you want more information, head to supermanhomepage.com or just go to shoppingforsuperman.com is their official website. All right, a couple of action figures to look out for that are coming from McFarlane Toys. If you're interested, there is a 0 hour action figure with the long hair, not the mullet, or it looks like a mullet in this, but it's the long hair.
It does not.
It does look like a
It's
mullet,
a mullet.
there.
No,
there
it does
is.
not.
Okay.
You can't have a spit curl in the front with a mullet. That's a
True.
physical impossibility.
We've just touched the sore
That's
point.
a party all over the place.
That's it.
It's not a mullet. It's not a mullet.
Okay.
That's it. I quit. You all are done. I'm done with the show. We are done professional.
It's a Page Puncher Superman action figure based on the 0 hour comic book. It will be available for pre-orders beginning tomorrow. But there are some Super Friends action figures also coming out where there are no long hairs or mullets. It's just Bizarro with what that looks like a helmet head. And then there's Brainiac, who has no hair, so you don't have to even worry about it there. And then you've got, well, I don't know what that kind of a haircut is, but that's Zan. And then you've got Jaina and Gleek. And that the others will be available at different retailers, but Jaina and Gleek will be exclusive to GameStop. So there's some upcoming McFarlane Toys action figures. Those ones based on the Super Friends.
Don't even tell me where the Zan one is. I ain't going.
Michael, have you calmed down?
That Bizarro figure. Have you guys ever seen The Fugitive? The Harrison Ford movie, The Fugitive?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That Bizarro looks like the guy that played the one-armed man in that film. He really does. He was on Babylon 5 too, and he was in The Death of the Incredible Hulk and a bunch of other things. But I think The Fugitive is probably what most people would have known him from. And I looked at that, I was just like, why has he got Leonard Nimoy's hair and that guy's face? That is a really weird take on Wonder. I'm going to take away your privileges if you keep this up. I'm just saying this right now. In the comments, I see what you're doing, and I will take away your privileges. I do not have the power to do that, and yet I will still find a way to do that.
Too funny. All right. Also, just quickly, Heritage Auctions has some an incredible collection of on consignment from Danny Fuchs, who is one of the greatest collectors of Superman memorabilia of all time, selling some great things at Hakes Auctions. So make sure you check that out. Hakes Auction, not Heritage. All right, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Before we tune out and tune off and turn off, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live and being with us over this past hour. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, Rick Schutzow, and Jamie Klingensmith. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you to my co-host, a very grouchy Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome. I'm just tired.
And no mullet, Mark Lax.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, well, thank you to Thank you to you both.
That was mean. I apologize.
The complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the website and on our YouTube channel if you'd like to catch it in full, watch it again, do all that kind of stuff. But we'll be back next week on Monday, October 6th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice, on behalf of myself, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Go out and buy my book.